Welcome back for episode 2 of what we're going to now call the M&M Show, where Mr. Murdock there and Mr. McCommon here are going to be walking you through all the relevant football information. So we're going to break this week's show into 3 different segments. So you will have to watch 3 different videos, but I think you all will be fine with that. We're going to do a week 1 review in segment 1. Our second segment is going to be a week 2 preview. Look for that in the YouTube channel. And then segment 3, we're going to tell you all the fantasy news you need to know. So thanks for joining us today. George, happy to have you back again on the show. Let's get started. So George, week 1. Let's do a little overreacting out here. A lot of things happened, a lot of storylines. We saw a couple of aging quarterbacks with new teams, and they didn't get it done. So overreaction number 1, Brady and Rivers are done. They're gone. They're done. It's over. Agree? Disagree? What do you got for me?
I disagree with that. I think that completely different things. I think the Colts are a very new offense when it comes to their skill positions. But the one concern I have about the Colts is that Philip Rivers has this real snake-bitten mentality of his that he brings with him, where the Chargers used to be the ones that were the whatever the opposite of beneficiary is on that. And now my overreaction is I hope he didn't bring that to the Colts, right?
Your lips to God's ear, my friend. We learned last week that I am the Colts fan in the group, and it was a mess to watch. And, at the end of the game, T.Y. Hilton, the only guy we count on in the clutch, he dropped 2 passes for first downs, just flat out drops. And you hate to see it. You hate to see it. Rivers obviously did not have his best game. He didn't look good. He was underthrowing balls, and I'm hoping that it's just time to gel. But maybe he's done. I don't know. I'll tell you on the other side of this, if we look at Brady, that's a guy that I hope he is done. I've had enough with Tommy Terrific. I have him in a fantasy squad. Screw him. Get him out of there. I'm ready for Tom Terrific to be done. Let's call that a career in Tampa. Am I overreacting again?
I think you are overreacting because the Saints have one heck of a defense.
They do.
And when you have that great of a defense, it seems to be wrapped around the amount of pressure that their offense can put on a team. You feel like you're consistently in that catch-up mode. Even with Michael Thomas getting hurt during that game, they consistently put pressure on Tampa Bay. They forced Brady into making mistakes. Tom Brady hasn't gelled yet with his running back crew. He hasn't gelled yet. He doesn't know where his receivers are going to be. I just think in general he's in a situation where he needs to get used to being on a different team, and he needs to get used to not necessarily having the same leadership that he got with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, you may be right there. So let's stick in Tampa for a second, because I have other concerns about that offense. You mentioned the receivers. Mike Evans was not 100%. He was on a pitch count. He caught 1 ball. Chris Godwin, I just saw, he's in the concussion protocol.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe we can get into this more during the week 2 previews, but that offense is in trouble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would say that they definitely need to figure out who their role players are going to be this year.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody to look out for is it looks like Brady has a lot of chemistry with Scotty Miller, who I believe is a rookie wideout on the team. I feel like he's going to be getting a lot of the balls that people like Godwin got previously. Mike Evans has always been very spotty with his output, and anybody that has had him on fantasy anytime in the past 3 or 4 years knows that to be true. He can go for 15 balls for 150 yards, or he can go for 1 ball for 1 touchdown like he did the other night. So
right.
He needs consistency. Brady needs consistency. He needs somebody that he knows is going to be exactly where they need to be when he's throwing the ball, and I don't think he has that quite yet.
Yeah, you know what I will say is the young kid, third year tight end OJ Howard. He seems to already be developing some chemistry with him, and I know kid from Alabama. We've expected big things. Fantasy owners have, and he has an output. So maybe this is the year where he breaks out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So let's move on. Topic number 2. I'm going to overreact again here. Cam Newton is back, and the Patriots are good, and Cam might win the MVP. Tell me why I'm wrong.
So Cam Newton, the thing that kind of strikes me with that is how seldomly he threw the ball. I believe his best receiver, which is Julian Edelman, I think he had about 7 or 8 targets. So he doesn't have trust in the wide receiver core yet, but playing against Miami, you don't necessarily need that. You can get the job done with your legs, to which he did. He had a good 80 yards rushing. He was by far the leading rusher on the team this week. I don't see him being this person that you could just insert into the offense and just expect everything to be the exact same way that the team was last year when it was so successful with Tom Brady. So I'm going to say that that's an overreaction.
Okay. So last week we both said the Bills were going to win that division.
Yes.
Are the Bills still winning that division?
Yes.
So obviously for the sake of the show, I threw that overreaction in there, but I'm with you. I look at his numbers and I think you're not throwing the ball. You ran it a bunch against a bad defense. You only put up 21 points. You've had 160 yards throwing the ball. Not super impressed. And I think when you have to do that against the Bills, like if he runs the ball 15 times against the Bills, he's going to get hurt. So
100%.
I'm with you there. I think we're on the same page there. All right, let's bring it home here. Overreaction number 3. And I mentioned this last week, and that's why I put it in here. Pete Carroll said, I'm going to let Russell off the chain, and damn, Russell looked good. Real MVP, Russell Wilson. Is he going to we had a couple other quarterbacks out there. Lamar had a good week too. But Russell Wilson is the real MVP this year, right?
You know, he's got as good of a chance as anybody. When you look at good quarterbacks, how often can you put together immense talent, leadership, and oh, by the way, they come through in the clutch? And that's what it feels like it is for Russell Wilson. He has games where he's completely off. His offense is completely off. You don't know what team you looked at. And then there's certain games where he's just in certain years where he's just completely in the zone. And he has a lot of talent around him. Chris Carson is on point, and he looks like that he's going to be a top 10 running back for sure. DK Metcalf is insane with the amount of size and the flexibility that he has. And then don't forget Lockett, before he got hurt last year, easily on his way to being a top 10 receiver in the league. So Russell Wilson has as many weapons as he needs to be successful this year.
Yeah, I think Rashad Penny's going to come back at some point this year too. Gives him a little bit of a scat back kind of guy out of the backfield, one of those little quick jitterbug guys. He's got 2 plotters there with Carson and with Carlos Hyde. And like I think it was funny when you're talking about Russell Wilson and he has these weeks where you're just like, God, what is wrong with this offense? But somehow the Seahawks stay in the game, and then at the end of the game, Russell Wilson pops up and makes a play either with his feet or with his arm, and like wins the ball game. And like, how many times have we seen that? And you don't, that little clutchness, you don't see that out of every quarterback out there, right? Like that is reserved for a few key guys to say, I am clutch. I'm going to put you on my back and I'm going to win the game. And I think that's a key this year. Like they're letting him off the chain. They're going to let him go eat. They're going to let that dog hunt. And I like it.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, DJ Dallas is a rookie over there, and he's going to be a really great complement piece and/or the successor of Chris Carson, because we all know running back careers don't last too long. And then on top of it, their tight ends, which are usually whoever's the tight end of Seattle is usually really highly productive, gritty player. And now they've got Greg Olsen, that joined the team. They still got a couple of other folks that are coming back, like Will Dissly coming back from injury.
Yeah.
So he's really got talent just everywhere. So it's going to be his to lose.
Yeah, if there's one thing that team isn't the Legion of Boom anymore, right? Like that defense is still formidable. Don't get me wrong, and giving up 25 points to a really pretty good Atlanta offense is not a bad thing. But they don't have the fear in you like they used to do back when Chancellor was back there just destroying people and they were just attacking the quarterback. So. I think if there's one thing, right, I think maybe Pete Carroll looked at this defense this year and said, I gotta let him go win some ball games because we're not going to not everybody's only going to score 10 points.
Right. I agree. Yep. It's one of those things where they're changing from a gritty smash mouth defensive unit, and they're turning themselves into a potent offensive team.
Yeah. All right, give me one more. Give me your biggest surprise of week 1, whether it's a team losing, a team winning, or something that happened.
Biggest surprise of week 1 is the Washington football team.
Washington football team. Ooh, nice catch.
Is in first place in the NFC East.
Good Lord. How awful was that game to watch?
It was a bad game to watch. It looked like that the Eagles were really in control, and then slowly but surely the lack of chemistry with the skill players that Carson Wentz had out there just really came
out
through.
Dallas Goedert as a slot receiver, you know what I mean? And that's not his fault. But good grief, and no running back last week either. Sanders was obviously out. Scott went out with injury, so you're trotting out Clement. It was not good. I had a friend over that was watching that game, and I didn't want to pee on his parade by any stretch, but I'm just like, we got to stop watching this game. It's bad. It's awful. It's terrible to watch. It's bad football. My big surprise from week 1 is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Colts. I get it. It's a homer pick, but come on. The Colts had almost double the yards. We had 460 yards to the 250, and they gave up 27 points, and you just can't happen. So we'll hope for better things this week against who knew, a bad Minnesota defense. I'll throw that up as another big surprise. Who knew that Aaron Rodgers was going to be the MVP, looking quarterback that he was 3 years ago? They're going to run the ball in Green Bay, so I don't think he's got a shot at the MVP. I don't think they're going to continue to let him eat. But watching him throw the clock back and be the quarterback he was 3 years ago and just sling the ball over the field to everyone was great to see.
Devontae Adams looked like a man possessed. If he could just stay healthy.
Him and Valdez-Scantling, and it's one thing leads to another, right? Now that you have to concentrate on Adams being a freak, look at everybody else. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Going to be a fun year.
Yeah, 17 targets for Devontae Adams.
Healthy.